So this is episode 5 in an 8-part video series I'm doing to complete a sea glass mosaic in this antique church window. And in each video I'm doing one section of the sea glass mosaic. Because there are 8 panes of glass in this, that makes for 8 videos. And by the time I finish, I'm going to have the entire window done, and I'll show you the entire window all completed in a beautiful sea glass mosaic. So if this is the first time you're joining me for this series of videos, you can click on the card up above and it will take you to video 1 in this series, and then you can watch all the videos all the way through. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. Just click on the subscribe button and you can click the little bell notification thing, and that way you won't miss any of the videos. So then you can see what I've done in the first 4 panes of glass, and in this video I'm going to show you what I'm doing in this pane of glass, number 5, as I'm starting the top half of the window. So let's get started. So this pane of glass measures 9.5 inches wide and 11.5 inches tall. But because I'm coming towards the top of the window, it's tapering a bit like this. So it's not quite square, which is fine. I'm quite amazed that I'm getting to the top of this window. So you can see this design. What I'm trying to do here, I want to intersperse some green and some brown stripes, sort of flowing lines of glass going up. And then the background is going to be all white. And I have a few circles here that I want to include. I have this incredible piece of sea glass. It's a deep olive green that fits right into that sloped corner right there. And I have a little piece of brown here that I want to put, a part circle, and then I have almost a full circle of white, which is quite small. It's a bottle bottom of a really small bottle. So I'm going to put that right down there. And I also have a white here that I might put in here. It's not going to lie really flat because it's quite a large kick up, but it's a really cool piece of glass, and I thought I might put that there. I'll see. And I think I'm going to put this piece of brown pottery on top of that big circle right there. And then I also, if you remember back in a previous video, I put some little purple amethyst in among my white, and this white section here, I'm thinking I'm going to include a few of these small purple amethyst rocks. And the other thing that I wanted to point out with this type of a design, I'm planning to do these flowing lines, and I really enjoy doing this. I find sea glass really lends itself well to doing flowing lines. But I want to intersperse the brown and the green lines here. So if I go like this and then, take some other brown pieces and lay them down like this. So there's this brown line coming through here, and then I'll continue the green down below. So it kind of looks like the brown is overlapping the green. And then as I go along here, I was looking at some of my larger pieces of green, and I'd like to get some really cool. And because none of the sea glass pieces are really perfectly shaped, what happens is that you can get these lines kind of flowing. And I really like that effect when I'm working with sea glass. The other thing that can go on here is that I have a lot of sea glass pieces that don't lay flat. So that's from the side of a bottle. So it's kind of rocky and it sits up from the glass. And to me, that just adds a little bit more interest into a flowing line type of thing here. So because I'm doing them like this, I don't have to stick right to the line that I've drawn in my pattern. As long as I kind of adjust and judge as I go, I think it will work just fine. So I just wanted to give you a little demonstration here of how you can add some interest to a section in your sea glass piece. Now if you look along here, you can see how I'm intertwining the brown with the green. So here it looks like the brown is going over the green, and here it looks like the brown is coming under the green. But within this brown section, I just wanted to add an interesting feature. So what I'm going to do is put a line of brown sea glass up on end. So I've taken a piece of brown sea glass that's flat on one side, and I'll just put a tiny run a tiny bead of silicone along the edge like that, and then just stand it up. This can be kind of messy, so it requires a little bit more fussing than some spots. And then I'm going to do about 5 or 6 of these. And when you look at the whole section of this particular flowing line, it's all going to look brown, but there'll be this one section in here that's just a little bit more interesting. And one of those things that you look close at it and it's like, oh, wow, that's different. And once these dry, they'll be pretty secure. Even though you have to be careful with putting things on end, in the sense that you have to watch them. Until they set, they might topple over. So you just have to be a little bit particular about not knocking them until after they're set. And I think one more kind of small one here I think will be neat. So then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the fact that they're all different sizes and they have different heights as well, to me is kind of interesting. So there, that just adds an interesting little feature here. And then I'll just build the sea glass in around it. One of the things when you put something on edge like this, I find it can be quite messy. So after I have them standing, I'll go through and I'll just kind of brush with my barbecue skewer between the sea glass pieces, just to clean off as much of that silicone as I can. It's impossible to do a feature like this without having some of the dried silicone show. It will dry clear, but still you're going to be able to see it. But I try to clean off as much as possible. I have made the mistake of cleaning off too much before, and when you clean off too much, by the time it sets, you'll find that it's not secure enough, so then I have to take it off and re-glue it. But I'll check it after it sets here to see if it needs to be re-glued, and hopefully it will be just fine like that. Then I'm just going to put some brown sea glass on either side of it to complete this section of the flowing line. And it'll just be an interesting feature. The other thing that I want to do here to add some interest, I went through some of my sea glass. I want to put some special pieces in here. So I found this lavender piece, and this is a piece of white milk glass. And I found this beautiful teal piece. And I just thought this section is going to be all white, but I'm going to have a few interesting pieces in here just to add some interest. And this piece is amazing. It's a yellow, kind of like a jelly bean piece. It's very cool. So I'm going to put those in there and then just surround that section with white sea glass. And then the other thing that I'm going to do, this is all about adding tiny little details that are interesting, is I'm going to put a bunch of these little purple things in here. And what I'll do is I'll put some white sea glass down. This is all a white section. And I'll put down pieces of white sea glass, and then I'll fit some of these purple ones in around them. So what I would do to attach those tiny little purple pieces, I would take some silicone and put it on the end of my barbecue skewer like that. And I would just put a dot of the silicone down wherever I wanted a purple piece of amethyst. And then I can just set the piece of amethyst right on top of the silicone. And it makes it easier to attach that way. So I'm just going to give you a bit of a close-up view of some of these finer details. So you can see I put a number of really small amethyst in there that adds a little bit of interest. And even doing this white, I have that big white kick up. If I go like that, you can see that it just jumps right up from the glass. And then I surrounded it by kind of triangular-like pieces, so it kind of looks like a flower. And there's a bit of a side view of those brown pieces all on end. It's kind of cool. It adds a little bit of a detail there that wouldn't otherwise be. And just adding that, even adding that piece of pottery adds a bit of detail. That color there is just spectacular with the lavender and the white milk glass and the yellow and blue there. Really interesting. And then even the way I arrange the pieces around that brown piece there kind of makes it look like a flower. So any of those little extra details that you can add, it just draws the person in to look a little bit closer and see what else might be there in terms of interesting sea glass pieces and interesting design. So thanks very much for joining me today, and be sure to join me next time for part 6 in this 8-part series I'm doing on completing a sea glass mosaic in this antique church window. Until next time, happy sea glass hunting!